Hey everybody, Deanna Rubino here, and this is your Microsoft and Windows News Roundup. Let's get to it. First up, news filed under has hell frozen over. Microsoft and Sony are apparently friends. Or at least rather frenemies. They're cooperating now on cloud streaming. And so if you've been listening to our Windows Central podcast for at least the last few months, we've talked a lot about this, that Sony frankly has no game plan for cloud computing as well as game streaming. So eventually they're going to have to team up with someone. Either it's going to be Google, Amazon, or Microsoft. And turns out Microsoft has a pretty good cloud networking system. So there you go. Microsoft and Sony just made this announcement. They're going to collaborate on this technology. It's going to give a big boost to Sony. And of course, Microsoft gets that money. So everybody seems to work out. The companies are also going to be cooperating on AI technology as well as image sensors, which Microsoft will use then in its Azure platform for its new smart camera system, which is based on Kinect. So it all comes full circle. Anyways, this is going to be a really big deal. It's really interesting to see these companies cooperate. Obviously, Microsoft has been reaching out to Sony for these last few years as they've been trying to bring cross-platform game streaming to everyone, and it looks like Sony is finally coming around, and that's good news for anyone who likes gaming. Have you ever had the dream about running Windows 10 on a Chromebook? Well, there's probably like 5 of you that have had that dream. And I'm sorry to report it's dead. All right, so if you don't know, last year's reported that Project Campfire was in effect. This was an attempt by Google to get their machine certified to run Windows 10 as a dual boot system. And this has always been a weird fantasy for tech nerds to have dual boot PCs and dual boot phones. And while it sounds really fun, it's actually very niche, and not even a lot of people use this on Mac unless you're a developer. And of course, it's very important. And that may be the reason why Google was looking at to do this. For instance, if you're working in an IT department, or more specifically education, having that option to switch between Windows and Chrome might actually be beneficial. Nonetheless, the project has apparently been shelved. We don't know the exact reasons why, but there's probably going to be limited usage for this. And let's be honest, none of you were actually looking at Chromebooks to run Windows on it, were you? Because no one likes Chromebooks, right? Maybe not. Next up is Cortana news. Yes, there's actually news around Cortana. If you go back a few videos ago, I said at Build, Microsoft was going to have some news around there, and they did announce that. What was it? Contextual AI. Going back to May 2018, Microsoft bought a company called Semantic Machines. What does that company do? Well, they were working with Google and Amazon to enhance the AI services, and now Microsoft bought them. So they've been working on this project for the last year, and it was shown on stage. It is the ability to talk to an AI system and go back and forth. That is, if you say, hey, can I have a meeting with John? And then you later refer to John as him using pronouns, the AI system actually understands what you're referring to. Likewise, if you ask about weather at a meeting, it's going to tell you that weather at that meeting versus your current weather. This whole contextual AI thing is very simple for humans to do. In fact, you do it without any training. But when it comes to machines and computers, well, it's actually very difficult. And this is where Semantic Machines actually excels at. So this technology has been folded into Cortana, or at least it's in the stages of being folded into Cortana. Now that demo on stage and then that video that was shown, it's actually real working code. That was not some made up scripted demo. That's the way it actually works. We got to see it ourselves. As to when we can actually get it, we don't have a firm date on it. So sometime probably this year, but we'll have to wait and see. Now we did sit down with the Executive Vice President of Cortana and Engineering, Andrew Schumann, to ask him a bunch of questions. So you should go check out that article. We did ask about more languages for Cortana, and they did say Office is a global brand, Windows is a global brand. So the idea that Cortana and their AI is going to be a global brand is on their charts, but no time frame for that. And we also asked straight up, is Cortana dead? And they were emphatic saying, no, it's not. They consider it to be a foundational part of Windows going forward. Now, it may sound a little weird, but ever since Windows Phone died, the reason for Cortana to exist actually came into question. So for the last 2 years, Cortana has shifted onto the Office group, and that group is actually very successful. And what they've been doing is weaving Cortana in through their productivity suite. After all, Microsoft says that that's where their paying customers are. So Cortana still has a long way to go, but Microsoft is pretty sure that it's going to stick around for the next few years, whether you agree with it or not. And finally, PCs with foldable displays are coming, at least in 2020. Now, if you've been listening to me on the Windows Central podcast or in editorials, going back for almost 2 years now, I've been talking about foldable PCs, dual screen PCs becoming a thing. A lot of people told me I was crazy, but here we are. And in fact, Lenovo showed off their ThinkPad X1 prototype this week to some people in the press, and it's a working prototype. Now, a lot of people pointed out, oh my God, is that tape on there and blah, blah, blah. That's the way prototypes work, folks. If you ever want to go see Surface prototypes, go check it out. The first ones were actually made out of cardboard, so that is the way they make hardware. So don't take that one as the exact final version, but that was a working device. Specifically, it had a 13.3-inch OLED 2K display. That's a touchscreen and supports Wacom inking, and it was really, really nice. Now, there was some color shifting there, but I'm not really too concerned with that. Once again, this is a prototype. It doesn't come out for another year. So Lenovo and LG, who makes the display, are going to have some time to fix it. That brings up the other point here, which is LG is making the display, not Samsung. It does operate differently than the way the Samsung one does for the Galaxy Fold, so hopefully we won't have those same problems. But again, we have at least another year before this thing comes out, so presumably they can fix any issues if there are any. Now, the other big news with this was the operating system. So Lenovo didn't talk about it. They just said it's a Windows-based device. And in the demo itself, we showed you it's running Windows 10, but we have a secret to tell you. It's probably running Windows Core OS, or at least it will be when it comes out. Yes, this will be one of the first Windows Lite PCs on the market. If you don't know about Windows Lite, Windows Core OS, well, we'll have that link below to explain what it is. We have a few other videos too as well. But overall, this is a really exciting category. Now, this is just one of many devices we're expecting. Microsoft themselves are working on a device reportedly called Centaurus. We don't know when that is going to come out, but we expect other manufacturers like HP and Dell to make these as well. This will be another shift going forward, just like how 2-in-1s came out in 2012. So these early devices may be a little bit weird, but still, yes, the era of foldable PCs is coming, and I don't mean laptops here, folks. Yes, foldable displays. It's actually a really big deal. I'll do a separate video explaining why this is a big deal, but otherwise, leave me a comment below and you tell me what you think of what Lenovo showed off. All right, so that wraps up this edition of your Microsoft and Windows news. Now, if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. I'll try to answer them. Otherwise, if you like this video, hey, give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Take care, everyone.